This is TWiT.
Georgia, I'm going to start with you since you are a therapist. And I have been telling people lately as we talk about Facebook and Facebook fatigue and social media fatigue and all the other things that we're asking ourselves about. Are we using our phones too much? Does gaming make you happy? I ask people to hold a device, not unlike, do you remember that book about the magic of tidying up? The Japanese book about the magic of tidying up.
She says, give you joy?
Yes. She says, hold the object that you're thinking about getting rid of, and does it bring you joy? And so I now ask people, if they say, do you think I should quit Facebook? I say, use Facebook for a few minutes, do what you would normally do, and then hold your phone and ask yourself, did that just bring me joy? Or does it just make me mad, or did it make me feel compulsive or whatever? So what is your advice to people about technology and happiness and determining what makes you happy and what you're being reactive to?
Yeah, I think that less is usually more. And I always say, think of yourself at 80. Are you going to look back on your life and say, I wish I spent more time on Facebook, or I wish I spent more time on social media, or would it be doing something with your family? Now, that being said, there are some tech devices that I can look back on and say, yeah, this brings me joy.
Okay, examples?
Difficult. Okay, so I have two, and they are really, truly, and literally the opposite ends of the spectrum. So one, and I'll go with Bree on this one, is my VR headset. I love the HTC Vive and Oculus. I love it. Playing Skyrim. It's amazing. And we have it hooked up to the ceiling for the wires. I'll talk to you about it later, Bree. It's amazing. And so I love that. And it's fun and exciting. And then the other one is my heated seated toilet seat. And I know, but really toilets haven't changed in 120 years. And having a heated toilet seat, and it has a bidet option. It has an air dryer, a deodorizer.
Oh, you have the Toto.
I have the Toto. I went. Yeah. It has a control, so you can actually have your own personal settings as you want. All kinds of amazing features. It just doesn't flush, which I would be sad. If it flushed, it would be completely done for me. But it's amazing, and I would never live without it. I almost I go to somewhere else or someone else's house, and I sit on the cold seat, and then I'm shocked, and I slam the toilet seat down, and I'm like, where's enough toilet paper? And it's sadness. So
this is a perk at Google. They have the warmed seats on the toilets at Google. In the office, on the campus.
Once you do use that, you can't go back. I'm sorry, a warm tushy. I live in Canada. It's freezing cold here. You get up in the middle of the night, and to have a little light that lights your way so that you're not going to miss. It also lets you not fall into the toilet seat for women, right? It's a chance it could happen. Yeah. So you don't fall into the toilet seat because and then it just takes care of everything. Air dry. You're just good to go after.
Virtual reality and warm tushy tech. I got it. Okay. All right. Wow. Brianna, what do you think is on your list of tech that makes you truly happy?
I'm going to wrap Georgia out before I answer this and say she loves VR so much. She actually bought a new house to have more VR, to have more room for VR. That's cut to Georgia. She's completely guilty. See that look on her face? That's the look of a guilty woman. So, yes. Right. Technology brings me joy. We're going to talk about it later. I love Nintendo Labo. It is joy in a box. It is fun to put together. I'm going to hold this up right here. Can
you give us the big picture? What is this and why is it different?
Okay. So this is Nintendo Labo. Basically, what they did is they got a bunch of engineers to make toys that you could build out of cardboard. So the variety pack is $60, $70, $80, something like that. And it comes with a bunch of different toys that you can build. One's a remote control car. You've got a fishing rod. Those remote control cars, they's awesome. That sumo wrestling those two cars and trying to get them out of a thing is amazing. So awesome. Frank and I are already over competing with that.
Well, those look like hex bugs.
It does. It's really, it's so much joy to put together because It's hard to explain. It's like the joy of building something and the joy of figuring out how all these parts work together. I just absolutely love it. I'm sorry, like I'm probably the only like person here that's super into cars, but it is summer finally here in Boston, or at least not 10 degrees. So I'm out there. I'm driving my motorcycle, my Porsche on back roads at night. I'm just having an absolute blast out there at this time of year.
With airbags.
With airbags. So Georgia knew me when we did our last show together. I had an Audi TT that I rebuilt from scratch. It was a 2001. I bought it for $5,000. I put another $10,000 into it, fixing it. I finally gave up and got a Porsche, and now I have a Porsche 718 GTS, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, it just, so much of my job is talking to people and being online that at the end of a long day, it makes me feel so good to like go out in my car and hit the twisties and just be there with the road. It makes me feel amazing.
But Brie doesn't drive really fast. She drives really slowly and slowly. Always the speed limit.
Always.
Very slowly.
Aspiring politicians always do.
Oh,
I like the synthesis of real world and technology here, and I thank you, Beatbox, in the chat room for reminding me that on the new screensavers, Karsten, our producer's kids, were demonstrating the Labo also, and it seems like a really neat tool for kids who are into engineering and want to bring that together in the real world. Yeah. Super cute. He had this one game where he's wearing a cardboard backpack and he had the controllers in his hands, and then the car that was being simulated in the game turned into a transformer as he stood up. And it was just, you could see it was truly an interactive experience because he was moving his body and people were able to watch the game that he was playing. So, this is where I see the benefit of these kind of real world gaming environments coming together. Ben, besides your spectacles that you wear out at all moments, what brings you joy from technology?
Oh, man. I guess I would have two things. One, I don't know if you've heard them. We haven't had a BBC moment yet, but I also have twins, Becky.
And how
they
old?
Wow. They're about to be a year.
Oh, my God. And we got you to do this? Wow.
You could have been sleeping.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Holy smokes.
And my wife Sarah is like amazing. So everybody's doing great. But they have these like bouncy chairs, and I'm forgetting the name of the company that makes them, but just these chairs where you're like, they're starting to crawl now and walk and pull themselves up on things, not walking yet, but pulling themselves up on things and putting like every electronic cord in their mouth. And like, we finally reached the point where like you literally can't do anything when they are like out and about. You used to be able to kind of like cook some food while they were rolling around or whatever, and now you just can't do that. So those bouncy chairs, I'm forgetting the name of the company that made them, but they're just sort of like kind of semi upright, and you can slip the babies.
I know which ones you mean.
Yes.
They're just like such lifesavers. So that's one piece of tech that has like saved my life, and I also really like the PSVR. I'm not as cool as Georgia. I don't have the HTC or the Oculus or anything like that, and I don't have yet the wires from my ceiling. That's an amazing idea.
You buy the set. I'll put the link in. You buy the set. It's like pulleys system.
Nice.
For the ceiling.
Nice.
Everything changes.
But
Georgia,
I
you've
love
got
that
a problem,
virtual
girl.
reality system. It's like so good to be able to. I have friends who play, and like friends who I don't actually spend time with anymore IRL, unfortunately, because they're really far away. And they have PSVR, and so we get to hang out and play Skyrim together and do other stuff together in these virtual environments. And I think that is actually in some ways the killer app for VR, is like being able to spend time with friends and relatives in a virtual space together is, to me, like the best kind of thing that you can imagine VR doing. And I guess that's sort of stating the obvious, but that is something that has been really wonderful for me as a new dad, is like being able to basically hang out with some of my friends who I don't see anymore because I moved out of the city because twins. #.
Yeah, because twins.
Oh.
It's not VR, but I was shooting a story with an old friend of mine the other day, and his son is 13, and he said that his son's main way of communicating with his friends is over headset in Fortnite. And
wow.
I just thought that was so interesting. I hadn't thought about boys. You know, we've talked about girls and all their social elements and the texting and the, you know, all the ways that social media is so important to them. But boys really communicating through gaming. What a concept. I hadn't thought about it. And you're validating that thought as you talk about it.
Yeah, it is really positive to be able to do that. It's a different. Yeah, I mean, some of my most serious conversations about what's going on in my life are literally happening probably while me and my buddy are getting our butts kicked by that 13-year-old in Fortnite. So